Hi, and welcome to the Wednesday Wrap Up. I'm Jessica Potts, a business strategist. I have guest expert Shannon Nagy on today, and we're going to be talking about how to niche down your customer base. And she's going to be able to give you some tips and also revealing how her business pivoted after she started to hone in on her specific niche market. Tune in. I have guest expert Shannon Nagy on today, and we're going to be talking about how to niche down your customer base. Shannon is a former finance executive turned multi-passionate entrepreneur who recently relocated from New York City to the suburbs of Colorado with her two gorgeous daughters, her husband, and her giant fur babies. She's a business strategist who specializes in confidence, clarity, and creating visibility online for the savvy CEO who's ready to elevate her business. Hi, and welcome to the Wednesday Wrap Up. I'm Jessica Potts, and I have Shannon Nagy with me today. And Shannon is an amazing female entrepreneur, and she is here to talk about something that I think that 99.9% of business owners really struggle with, and that is understanding your customer niche. So welcome and thank you, Shannon, for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Can you tell us a little about what you do and who you work with?
Yeah, so I am a former corporate finance executive. I have morphed into a business strategist. I left corporate almost 2 years ago now, which seems crazy. And I work with savvy CEO moms who are burned out of their 9 to 5. They've started their side hustle and it's not growing the way they want it to grow. So I help them elevate that business into something sustainable, to put it short.
I know, right? It's incredible when you're able to leave your corporate job. And that's 2 years ago. Congratulations.
I know, it seems crazy. People look at me like I'm insane. I got let go a week before I went on maternity leave with my second daughter. And it was funny because it's like that, oh my gosh, what? And I was like, oh, I was mad for like 2 minutes. Literally was that thing that I needed. It was the extra push I needed. I had been trying to almost fit the square peg into the round hole for a long time, and I was not listening to the universe. And I finally had to listen. It was obviously giving me a message that this was not where I was supposed to be. And I had my side hustle at the time. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to run with it and I'm going to see what it becomes. And I ended up where I'm at because my side hustle was not growing the way that I wanted it to. And I didn't understand what was wrong or why things were going that way. So I had to go on a journey to figure that out and figure out, how do I be in the online space? How do I understand my customer? And what do I actually offer? So it's been this whole long process over the last 2 years, really getting to this place where I knew it wasn't just about being with one company. I knew it was bigger than that. And that's how I have gotten into being a strategist for other moms. I just realized there's so many of us out there that are struggling to understand, what does it look like in the online space? Where do we go? How do we find our customers? How do we even know who our customers are? Which is what you and I are going to talk about today. So, and why I get so excited about talking about it.
This is one of the most passionate things, and I talk about customer niche all the time. And I know that it really resonates for me because I spent a good year of my business not very clear about who my customer base was. And what happens is, if I'm not clear, how the heck am I going to attract anybody to my business?
Right. And that's exactly, I spent the better part of last year trying to figure out, number one, am I going into this strategy space? Am I going to help other people, or am I staying in a network marketing business? And what does that look like? And I didn't know who my customer was, right? I was still in that space where I just want to help everyone. And that, when I finally took the leap to hone in on that, because I have multiple people telling me all year long, you need to niche down. You need to figure out who is the ultimate person that you want to serve right now. Because it's also not a forever thing. It's really about, what right now are you super passionate about solving for someone, and who is that person? And once I finally sat down and said, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to change my mind. This is who that person is. It was like everything came together. And so now that's really one of my biggest passions, is helping people figure that out, because I find, like you said, 99.9% of the people are like, well, I don't really understand why I need to do that. Right. I don't understand why I need to do that. I don't know. Am I going to alienate a whole bunch of people? And I tell you what, you're not. I promise you, you are not. It is amazing once you're clear how many people start gravitating to your space. So I know in your experience, that was kind of the road you went on as well, right?
Absolutely. And it's so funny because I was teaching everyone, I'm like, you really need to niche down. I was. But I really wasn't honing in on my superpower traits and who I can really help and benefit and who I serve best. And once I was able to really hone in and identify that, it's just like you, right? People are really attracted. And I used to always say, like, Coca-Cola is a really large company. Like, not everyone is their customer. Right. And, even though they have thousands of different products, they're still not marketing to every single individual. So, even with that being said, and the other thing is that when we really hone in, I can really start speaking their language. I am able to have almost internal dialogue with these people through my website, through my social media, and people are attracted to that. I mean, if you ever dropped on someone's website and you're like, holy moly, they are reading my mind, you know what I'm talking about.
It's the yes factor, right? You start putting out content they're reading your content going, oh yeah, I feel like that. I went through that. Yes, yes, yes. You want the yes factor, right? That's how you know that they're your people, and how they start gravitating towards you. They're going to start following you. They're going to start reading your stuff. And then eventually we're all putting out content, right? We're all offering services. We all have things that we do. And the more, as we're specific to this person, eventually they're going to be ready to work with you. And who knows? Some people are ready right away. Some people are ready later. But if you're not putting out the right message that's directed to a certain type of person for the problem you're solving, they can't find you. They're not going to see your message online. They are not going to be able to benefit from your service if they don't know that you're offering it to them.
Right. Or you're just not even like honing in on who they are, because I've even seen brand messaging where I'm like, I'm not even sure what they do. They have all these products, they're all over the board. You know what I'm talking about. And you're like,
I see it all the time. It makes me crazy. Now that I'm so in tune with it, when I scroll social media, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what that person does. I don't know what that person does. Like, I don't know who that person's talking to. I do it all the time now subconsciously, because I'm so focused on making sure that all of my messaging shows up to talk to that mom whose attention I want to get. Right? Who I know I can help get out of, that burnout and that stuck position that they're in. And they're out there. I just have to keep putting out my message to get them, to attract them.
So people miss that. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Sorry, people miss that piece of it. It's just it's so interesting to me now that I'm so clear, why I don't understand why you wouldn't want to be able to solve a specific problem, right? Mm-hmm. And why you keep wanting to put everything out there. It's, trying to find a needle in a haystack. So you got to be as specific as possible.
I love that. And you are absolutely right. So could you give any tips on how to hone in and figure out what your niche customer would look like?
Sure. I think for me, and what I work with my clients on, is really understanding that this person that you're going to serve is a former version of you. Always. It is always something that you already solved for yourself. It's the problem, the transformation that you've gone through to go from A to D or A to B, whatever that looks like. It's a matter of choosing a point in time and showing up then to talk about that problem. One of the biggest things that I do teach my clients is make sure it's something you're excited about. Make sure it's something that you have so much confidence to talk about, because the transformation you went through is amazing and you love sharing it with people. You're already probably talking about it without even realizing that you're doing it. So I really try to make them, you got to go back and you got to say, okay, which piece of my puzzle do I love sharing? And that's what you're going to show up and talk about. And that's what you're going to create content around, right? And that's what you're going to create programs, all of your stuff, especially at the beginning. And really, I tell people, hone it, put your blinders on for 6 months. Okay. This is who she is, or he, depending on, might be he. that's it. Put your blinders on. You're not going backwards. Once you decide, and really hone in on that and start showing up to create content that solves their problem, right? That shows them that you solved that problem for them. And then just start. I mean, really, like, you have to just go for it. A lot of people I see waiting around. I don't know who my person is. I don't know who I want to talk to. And they constantly go in circles for months at a time, which we've all been there. That was me. That was me last year, going in circles constantly, not understanding why nothing was working, right? And I think it's really important that you just make a decision and just start going, right? And it's going to ebb and flow as you go down this road. It's going to shift down the road, right? But it's really important to stay consistent. That's where your consistency comes in on social media. And it's a matter of staying really consistent with your message. You don't want to have 50 messages, right? You have those several problems you solve, you show up, you talk about them constantly on repeat, as Gary Vee says. Okay, people get mad because he talks about the same thing over and over and over. But you know why? He's the expert. And you want to be the expert in the problem you're solving. Your person might see you every 20 posts. So if your message is constantly changing and shifting, they also won't be able to find you. So yeah, top tips: decide who your person is, get started creating content for them, and understanding how they feel when they read your posts, and stay consistently sharing that message over and over and over.
All right, so I have to comment. I always say that too, that 9 times out of 10, your client is going to mirror you. Because just like you said, you are creating a solution for a problem you had. And as much as I always wanted to get away from like corporate America, I really do identify with women leaving corporate America. Exactly. And
I avoided it like the plague, and I wondered why my business wasn't growing. I didn't want to talk about corporate. I really avoided a bunch of the stuff that I was really good at. I think you and I have similar stories in that respect. I didn't want to talk about that. And to my detriment, that's part of why it took so long last year, is I didn't. And now I want to make sure that people don't take as long as me, because it shouldn't be that complicated. And it's like avoiding, like, I went and started talking about self-care, right? Let's be clear, I had to go on my own self-care journey, but that's not my specialty. Okay. And I had to really back up and say, why am I talking about this? Just because I think that's what somebody wants to hear, I think is also some of the things we get stuck in. Well, I should talk about this because so is everyone else. And you just need to make sure you stay in your zone of genius. That's what I like to tell my clients. Like, what are you passionate about? And that's the lane you need to stay in. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing, which is easier said than done sometimes on social media.
And, the other day we were on a call together and you said something that really resonated with me. And that was when I said, well, sometimes I feel like I have to dumb down what I say because maybe people aren't going to understand it when we're talking about being in corporate America. When you're talking about our ROI or, words that we were using on a common normal basis when we were working in corporate America, it was that high level conversation. And I love what you said to me. You're like, listen, if they're your ideal client, they're going to get you. And
150%. I'm a firm believer in that now. I stepped away from that zone where I was trying to make everyone happy. And it's almost like when you get back in touch with yourself in a way, like when you go on that self-care journey, you start to realize that you don't care what anyone else thinks. Like you need to worry about yourself. This is the same thing. It is your people. It's like getting stuck with the following. And if you can have 10,000 followers, and if they're not your right people, nobody's going to buy from you anyways. I'd rather have 1,000 people who are raving fans than 10,000 who don't really care about what I'm posting every day. Right. And it's that same thing. Your people, you do you, and your people are going to get it. If they don't get it, they're not your people. I mean, it's as simple as that, even though most people don't want to hear that. I find people don't want, it's like, but I want all these people to follow me. I'm like, well, but why? If they're not going to buy from you, who cares? What's the point? Like, you're giving a specific service to someone, right? We are helping empower more people to live a better life, to, learn how to strategize their business, to whatever it is that we specialize in or you specialize in. That's your superpower, right? And that's your magic. So it's very important for people to make sure they stay in their magic. That's what I like to tell my clients. I'm like, if something doesn't feel right, It's funny. I just had a client who told me she was trying to make a video for something, and we were working through it, and she's like, I just couldn't do it. And I'm like, you probably, if you don't know what to say in something, or you're having a hard time with your content, it's not the right message. So you got to listen to a little bit of woo woo, and listening to your gut and listening to your intuition when it tells you that you're not going down the right road, because you're probably not.
Also, what I find very, very interesting is that whenever I am very, very clearly focused, people start arriving in my life at the right time. And when I got uber focused on who my customer was, customers started lining up. It was crazy. I was meeting them at networking events. People were reaching out to me online, and it was the universe saying, hey, you're on the right track.
Yeah, you showed me you were ready. It's like, I'm a firm believer in that now. When you show up and show that you're ready to receive whatever it is that's coming next, and you know what you want, and you're very specific about it, that's exactly what happened to me. And I was like amazed. It started, things were not as hard. I have ideas coming to me all the time now. And so it's funny, I said this the other day to someone, so I really know that I'm in the right place, because I always have ideas for stuff. I always kind of know, even if I don't wake up knowing what I want to post that day, or I'm going to go talk about on social media, like there's constantly this flow of ideas of things that I can help my woman with, and that I know she's going through, and that I can share, part of the mom saga that I go through because I have 2 little kids, and, all of those things. And it's just like, okay, thank you. Like, I try to be grateful for it every day, because I know I'm in the right place and I'm showing up. And literally, I feel like people are starting to knock on my door all the time. And that's the beauty of it, because it really does work. People are like, are you sure? Does that actually work? And I'm like, no, I promise you, you're going to be it's literally like the floodgates start to open, and people just are like, what is she doing? They're attracted to you. They feel your vibe, because you're in your space and you're doing what you love, and that people just start to come. It's crazy. I was blown away when it started to actually happen to me, because that made me realize, like, okay, it works.
You're like on the right path.
I have to keep teaching other people how to do this, because it actually works.
I love that. And then, I just want to also talk about repelling. And there are people out there that we don't want to work with. And I know for me, it's people who, sign up and don't want to do the work or put the hard work in, because what happens is they don't see those results. And then when they don't get those results, they want their money back, or, they want to write a bad review. So it's almost like a domino effect. So there's business out there that's bad business that we don't want. And that's also customer base.
It's a hard thing, because especially as you're getting going, you want to make money, right? We all want to make money. And I went through a little bit of that. It's like, okay, I'm just going to take on everyone that comes in. And listen, just because people say they're ready to work does not mean they're ready to work. And I had people where it's like, they don't really want to change or grow or do it, even though they feel like they should. And that's why they want to work together. And so I'm very particular now. I mean, listen, of course, we all want to make $1 million, right? But I don't need to make $1 million on having a bunch of clients that aren't the people that are going to actually showcase my skills, right? Like, I want the next best testimonial with my next client. Like, that's what I aim for. Like, I aim to please. I am working with them. I want them to grow and learn and have amazing results. So if I don't think I can give them those results, I don't work with them. And it's just as simple as that. I mean, people might think that's crazy, but it's really like, I get to be choosy about who I work with, because it's also about our energy, right? I expend a ton of my energy, and I'm putting everything into my clients and helping them. And that to me is the most important thing. And if I'm not feeling good about someone, it's not going to be worth my time. So
I agree with you. And then also, I find that I get a little resentful if I take on a client that I don't feel like we align. And it's just not a good working relationship. And you can feel that energy on both ends. And it's, especially when I first launched, where, like you mentioned, where money was more of a factor than really being able to hone in and understand the value that I can add to this to my client and the results that they're able to get.
Yeah. And I think really it's hard. That's probably the hardest thing to do, is to remove the money piece of it. And coming from the money girl, right? Like, everything's always been about money my whole life. I mean, that was my job for so long. But I think really removing that piece for me has been super duper powerful, and really understanding that I'm here to provide the value and that my services are valuable, and people started showing up to pay me. And once I started I'm putting out value, and what I offer is going to make them money. So why don't I feel like I can get paid? And once I shifted that and really understood that, okay, I'm honed in on this woman, she's got the money to pay me and she's ready to go. And I think that's a big thing too, right? It's like making sure you understand if your person, and this is where I've had to make tweaks with people who are honing in on their ideal client, right? They're honing in on the girl that's broke, that's too afraid to talk about her problem. That can't be your ideal client right now. And it's funny, I've had to make a shift in that, because I realize some of my people are, they're honed in on this girl who's too afraid to come forward and talk about things or whatever. And I'm like, okay, we've got to shift away from her, because she's never going to come forward to talk to you. Right. Or the girl that's, broke, even though she knows she needs your services, well, she's never going to be able to pay you. So what's another version of you that we can focus on that's going to have the money for these services at this point? And then we go create other things for the person that can't, that other person's curating your free content, right? And your trainings that you're putting out. But it's an interesting, there's multi dimensions to your person and understanding who she is. And it's a matter of working through, I'm worthy of making money. I deserve to be paid for the time and effort that I'm putting into this. You cannot keep doing it for free, guys. And don't feel guilty for wanting to actually make money doing your craft. I found that I struggled with that a lot. It's, I went through a sort of, okay, well, this is a different business. And, this isn't something I've been doing for a long time. So why should I get paid to do it? And you were one of the people who, when I first met you, was like, that's ridiculous. Look at your resume. And I literally had to go back and look at my resume and say, oh, good God, she's right. Like, this is ridiculous. I could charge $500 an hour. So there's different variations as you go through niching down and you understand who your person is and what she's going through. And then being able to show up and talk to her and know that you offer value enough that's worth getting paid is a huge, it's all just parts of the puzzle that you got to work out.
When I talk about your niche customer, I always say it's someone that you can serve, someone that you can add value to, and most importantly, it's someone that can afford you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think as women entrepreneurs, and I don't want to get off subject too much on this, is that
get on a tangent.
We undervalue our services, and a lot of times if we have limiting beliefs on money, we will put those off on our customer. And there are plenty of customers out there that will pay you in full, that can afford you and value your services, and also just looking at, okay, so when my clients usually come to me, they are at times not only doubling, but I'm talking 300% and 400% increases in their overall revenue. Yeah. And that is huge. And so understanding your value is a big factor.
That was also, I attracted all the people that couldn't pay me at first, but that was because I was severely lacking in the value that I thought I brought. And I thought I didn't deserve to get paid for this because I hadn't been doing it very long. And, it's just, we could get off on a whole nother, we can have a whole nother session on what does that look like in your money mindset and things like that. But all of those things are important as you start to think about who this woman is and the value that you bring to her. And that's really the foundation, is just understanding, I bring this to her, I help her transform from A to B, and that's valuable. And you go forward and you tell people about it. And that's really the simple version of niching down, right?
I love this. This is probably one of my favorite topics of business because it's the most impactful thing that you could ever do for your business. It will literally, it takes you from struggling. I'm talking about the struggle is real, to being able to lay out your entire website, to have content constantly, to be able to write, to be able to connect, to create these deep relationships with your potential customers and people lined up for your services. I mean, it is a complete game changer. Yeah,
me too. It really has been for my business. And it's why I'm so passionate about making sure that my clients understand that this is, it's what we start with, right? You start with, what do you want to do in your business? What's your long-term plan? And your next thing is you're going right into you need to understand your ideal client. Even if you've already done it, it's worth revisiting and going back, because if you're struggling in your business, chances are that foundation has not been laid properly. So it's really, really important to make sure you're honed in on that.
All right, so I completely agree. And I will say this to the day I die, it is the number one mistake I see business owners making incessantly.
Me too.
Especially in the first year or two, because that's really when you're trying to figure everything out. And
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I also wanted to say that, helping my clients also understand that you have a niche market for each product, because each product or service is solving a different challenge. And so product A may not be sufficient for, the same customer's product B. However, being able to hone in and understand those challenges and speak to that group of people is part of your marketing as well.
Right, exactly. Because once it's funny, it's really like, as you get going, she's going to shift, you're going to morph into someone else, then everything's going to start to flow as your business starts to flow. You're going to create different things for different people as you go. I mean, listen, once you're running $1 million brand, okay, you're probably serving more than one avatar, let's be clear. But when you're still working on making $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, understanding that you solve a specific problem and being able to do that is huge. And it's going to get you to that goal that you're looking for. So yeah, it's the most important thing to make sure you work on.
And then also I wanted to add, because I have been offering everyone a 30-day challenge. And I'm like, go out and meet 3 people every day, and go to networking events. You and I talked about this a lot. But make sure your networking events align with your target customer.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, listen, you don't want to just go to a networking event just to go. You want to, and not that you're going there to make money either. It's like I told you earlier, I just went to one last night, and it was funny. When you're in the right zone, the right people are going to come. I walked into this room. I was late. I was like the last one to show up. I almost didn't go. I've never felt like I was in a room full of the right women in my entire life. And it was crazy. I was so in the right place. So I was like, all right, grateful that, I went and that I met a bunch of amazing women, business women, and the right people. It's crazy. So yeah, you guys, focus. I promise it works.
Thank you, Shannon, so much for your time today and coming on, because this is such a valuable discussion. I'm telling you, it is the number one mistake I see with business owners, and you have shed so much light on this, and I think that people are really going to benefit from this.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's my favorite thing to talk about.
And then if people want to get in touch with you, how can they schedule a call with you?
Yeah. So you can find me on Facebook, Shannon Garrison Nagy. LinkedIn is the same name. My website is also shannongarrisonneggy.com. I tried to make it easy for everyone. So you can find me across all platforms. My Instagram is Shannon_Nagy. And as a special thank you to Jessica, for any of you who are watching and you're struggling with this and you just don't know where to go, I am doing free 15-minute sessions for you guys. So check the links. Jessica's going to leave all the links for you guys down below. And you can schedule a quick call with me and we can get you clear on that and move you forward.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I look forward to seeing your business grow and expand with your niche customer base.
Great. Thanks so much for having me. See ya.
All right. Thank you.